So now I invite Vinita ji again, just to introduce our third speaker. Very lively discussion is going on, and we are also running short of the time, but we'll give full time to the third speaker also, Vinita ji.
Dhanyavad, Dr. G. I would now like to introduce the third speaker, Srimati Alka Arya ji, who will present the third lecture in today's session. Srimati Alka Arya ji, you hold the prestigious position of Director of Planning in the Delhi Development Authority, the DDA, which is in Delhi, India, and is under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs of the Government of India. Srimati Alka Arya ji has been awarded a bachelor's degree in architecture and a master's degree in urban and regional planning. She lives in Delhi with her family and derives much inspiration in her professional and private life from the teachings of Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati ji and Acharya Agnivrata ji. Being an expert in the architectural sciences, her clarion call of spiritualize your sciences derives much inspiration from the first principle of the 10 principles of the Arya Samaj. The first principle of the Arya Samaj being सब सत्य विद्या और जो पदार्थ विद्या से जाने जाते हैं उन सबका आदि मूल परमेश्वर है. Or in English, God is the primary cause of all true knowledge, science, and of all that can be known through it. Srimati Alka Arya ji, after this short introduction, I would like to invite you now on behalf of the Maharshi Dayanand Chair to deliver the third lecture in today's session on the Vedarambh Sanskar and its close affinity with the Vānaprastha Sanskāra and how one should convince the youth of 2022 and inspire them with the fire of knowledge. Srimati Alka Arya ji, the floor is yours.
Dhanyavad, Vinita ji. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible. Yeah.
Dhanyavad, Ravi Prakash ji.
Yes.
Namaskar to all the elating souls gathered here today to ponder upon some thoughts on how the humans, born like a plain white blank paper, turns out to be a brilliant shade of colorful desired life, and another in a dark, gloomy, parasitic end. Vedarambh Sanskar has got this close affinity with Vānaprastha Sanskāra, but how we convince 2022 youth, which has got fire for the knowledge, who are not aware that these Sanskāras does hold a gravity to turn the blank papers into the most beautiful and colored ones. So we heard in our last two sessions that the designing session does matter. The journey does matter. And this also matters what tools, gadgets, aids we take along for a smooth ride and an accomplished destiny. And mind you, as we discussed in our last two sessions, that only humans can color their canvas. Only humans can travel in this journey of upgradation, because plants and animals do not understand the power of speaking truth. Or you may also say they do not share an understanding of a global invention for a noble cause. This only humans understand. The animals are just born, do basic stuff and die. However, we humans are bestowed with the power of knowledge to discover, invent, reinvent, and eventually upgrade every moment for our own benefits and for the society, coloring the blank paper again a colorful one, a beautiful one. Now the generous Father of all, the Almighty, did give us the combination of all possible tools, gadgets, aids for our journey in the form of knowledge. Yes, the sharpest, the wisest, and the most reliable tool for reaching our desired endeavors. So let's assume in this way that if the liberation of the soul, the emancipation is the utmost destination, and the entire universe, the entire creation is the carriage which we have to use to reach to the destination, then the knowledge is a tool and how to implement this knowledge is written in its toolkit, जिसे हम ईश्वरीय वाणी भी कहते हैं, and that is Ved. Ved is the toolkit. Now imagine if we bought a new iPhone and does not know how to operate it, or even not to open it. Then comes this toolkit, this guidebook known as Veda, which will make us to handle the tool wisely for its maximum benefits, reduce time wasted in its operation, and for quick way outs in case of any hindrances or if we are stuck. The human beings are given this toolkit, this guidebook for the maximum potential tapping of this product of the universe, our creation. There is a symbiotic relation between ourselves and the creation. This toolkit, this guidebook for us is for Veda. So generously he bestowed knowledge for this entire universe to mankind, to not wasting time and energy in utilizing it for the best. See, the simple equation I would like to put forth here is that the entire creation have just three major players, three major components: the Paramatma, Parampita, Parmeshwar, the Atma, second one, that we all are, also holded by the animals and the plants. So that's the second component, Atma. The third is Prakriti, where Paramatma and Atma are Chetan. They are the conscious beings and cannot be distorted, changed in any way. However, Prakriti is Achetan. It is unconscious and can be distorted, changed in many desired ways. Some changes we do. Those are man-made and limited. But when we see it in the form of complex celestial systems, composition of all bodies, and unseen forces behind it, it is the superpower of the generous Paramatma, which he created from the base material Prakriti. Now just realize how beautiful the equation is, that the Paramatma with his ultimate capacity converts this Prakriti, this solution, into the way that we see our universe with so many solar systems, uncountable galaxies around us, and we dissipate information from there inside us and from us to the universe back. Simply knowing this equation, this fact, is a type of realization, a major realization in today's context. This was not so in the Vedic era. Even it is not in the case when the Vedic style of living is done today. As the Vedarambh Sanskar, performed at the age of 7 to 11 years, where the parents who are busy in managing livelihoods, surrender the child to Vedic scholars, the acharyas, the Vedic vidwans. They did expose these 7-year-aged brains to the basic and utmost truth about the three only and major components of existence, the Paramatma, Atma, and Prakriti. This made the remaining 90 years of them in the present context. I'm just restricting to 100 years of human life span. However, in the Vedic period and following the Vedas, the lifespan can be extended to 400 years. This has been documented. So the remaining 90 years becomes, life goes into an ease of understanding, handling and utilizing their surrounds and themselves well. This is nothing but Vedarambh, Vedarambh, start of knowing Veda, to know Paramatma, Atma, Prakriti and their symbiotic relationship. After the Upnayan Sanskar, induction program for Vedarambh Sanskar is performed and the energies are sent into the universe, that the Atma is now intending to attain wisdom through Veda. Gurus work relentlessly to upgrade all aspects of child. 16 lifestyle streams. You name the subject, it is well laid there in the Sanskara and after that in the Brahmacharya ashram. To name few, वैदिक मैथमेटिक्स गणित, एस्ट्रोनॉमी जिसे हम खगोल शास्त्र के नाम से जानते हैं, मेटलर्जी धातु विज्ञान. Currently we are not aware of the metals and their proper use, copper conductivity of electricity to the maximum and its utilization in day-to-day life, and that's how the lack of knowledge is hindering all of us to attain to our best potential stages. Astrophysics, the entire modern physics and a lot more is there in the astrophysics taught in the residential accommodations of that era, that time, presently handful available with us, known as ashrams or gurukuls. The fifth important aspect we're taught to be karigari, that is the workmanship, exposing the 7 to 10 years old brains to independent workmanship of pottery, wooden, gold, iron, cloth weaving, etc., making these brains independent and strong entrepreneurs of their own to sustain life without any dependency. Chemistry, the Rashayan Shastra. Seventh, medical science, Chikitsa Vigyan, including medicine and surgery. Dhanurvidya, martial arts and weaponry. Now just understand this eighth aspect, the Dhanurvidya, in the absence of which our youth are falling into the trap of slavery. If not physical, it's mental. So weaponry, the martial arts, Shastra and Shastra together. Currently, we do not have any means if there is an attack from outside, how our youth or the young ones save themselves. That was taught in the Gurukul system. Economics, the Arthashastra, how to manage your incomes and expenditures well. Epistemology, ethnology, behavioral science, anthropology, geology, humanities, Vyakaran, Sanskrit grammar, which uplifts your Satgun. Prakriti does have 3 guns inherent in it: Satgun, Rajgun, Tamgun. So the Sanskrit, the Ucharan of itself, increases the Satgun in you, in all of us. Yoga, music, the Samved, the Shastriya Sangeet, and Ayurveda. All these teachings were taught to these 7 years old kids and to the extent of 25 years. Now just imagine when they're out from these gurukuls and ashrams, they are independent, they are capable, and understand what to do with the universe around, how to deal with plants, animals, and to their fellow colleagues. All these were understood through listening, Shravan. Understanding through meditating. After listening, you meditate. You radiate the knowledge into yourself, which we call as Manan Chintan. And then Nididhyan, that is realization. It is not what is taught to you by your teacher. You engrave it as it is. You need to have Chintan over it and then take a realization. No exams. Evaluations through pure practical performed at the end of the completion of each subject. After the age of 25, student can choose to further explore more on any subject of choice and study in further detail till the age of 45, which in current scenario, we call it as doctorate or PhD. At the age of 21 to 25, when the basic understanding is attained, the young entity is prepared to apply this attained knowledge in the field of spiritual growth, one, which is the Param Anand Prapti Hetu, for utmost pleasure attainment. And second, material wealth creation. Initially, when I was young, I used to think that material wealth creation is not that important. One thing that is important is your spiritual growth. However, then over the time, listening to Vedic scholars, reading scriptures, following Dayanand Saraswati, I realized how this Arth, Kam, Dharma, Moksha, and the meaning, the literal meaning of Arth comes out that from the Dharma you attain material wealth creation. And why? To produce a conducive environment for others to attain the spiritual growth in the form of facilitating construction of these gurukuls so that others can also learn these streams, the tools, the gadgets, the aids to form aushadhalayas For example, if you have a friction with your body is ailing, it is difficult for you to attain a spiritual growth. There will be always a stage of conflict. So our material wealth creation will facilitate production of more aushadhalayas, construction of hospitals, roads, services, canals, so that these knowledge can be propagated to all the entities existing on the planet, and to have a minimal friction for the soul to travel through the lifespan, taking help of healthy body and mind. In Rig Veda, it is clearly mentioned that to reach to the level of utmost satisfaction and purity, there are just three ways, simple three ways. Jnana, knowledge, which we mentioned about. Second, karma, the duty, the responsibility, adhering to them and delivering. Third is upasana, knowing features of the Almighty, all the best ways born by Him, and transferring them in one's life. I'll repeat, there are three ways to attain this utmost satisfaction in life. One is through the marg of jnana, second karma, third upasana. Human beings may choose any one as per their inclination. So much of liberty given in our Vedic system. We can choose as per our inclination any of these. The remaining two can have a balance between, and we can then lead a successful life. Rishi Kanath, Rishi Gemini, Rishi Patanjali, Rishi Shushrut, Rishi Panini, Rishi Yajwal, Rishi Dayanand Saraswati followed knowledge route to emancipation and salvation. Through extensive learning and research, Mahadev Shiv, which we also know as Shivji, Bhagwan Sri Ram, Bhagwan Sri Krishna followed the karma, the second path, the duty and its deliverance. Many rishis and maharishis followed upasana with a reasonable blend of jnana and karma. So jnana is utmost important. The two ways can be balanced in a way. Now let's imagine human existence in absence of this basic know-abouts. It's really dreadful. This knowledge is diminishing now. In 2022, not even a handful souls are getting benefited from the teachings of Veda. Reason being, no structured readings and applications of Veda in our lives, resulting in wandering souls, restless minds, destructive ideas, lack of empathy, clueless society, and irrational brains, resulting in poverty, unemployment, ill health, slavery, mental if not physical, I'll repeat, terrorism, addictions, etc. Here, I'm not counting on the wastage of loads and loads of energy, both human and nature, and resources, as it is expected to be understood by rational brains. When the brains are not rational, they'll not even understand how much man-hours they're spending in unnecessary, unfruitful things. Youth out from the colleges are almost nil in functional knowledge, crying for employment and clueless. Gurukuls through Vedic knowledge, on the other hand, produced self-motivated entrepreneurs. Sri William Adam of British nationality has recorded his experience and submitted it to British government in the House of Commons, British Parliament, on 2nd February 1835. A 1,780 pages report stating that he has seen length and breadth of India and have not found in the year 1835 a single beggar in the entire country and no one dependent parasitically on any other for basic livelihood. The reason is clear. The reason that he mentioned was the Indian education system of learning from Veda in the Gurukuls, where the largest Gurukul recorded was with 20,000 pupils and the smallest with 200. Imagine, every smallest unit of development. I am an architect and an urban regional planner. I understand the basic entity of physical planning. It is our villages. They were so reinforced with this Vedic education system that not even a single village was deprived of a Gurukul or a school. All the smallest unit of development has this Gurukul, producing these self-dependent, sharp and efficient young stock in the social fabric. After producing a yet another self-motivated and self-resilient generation in Grahastha Ashram. I am taking this transition, please bear with me and see how logically it is being connected. In the social fabric, after producing a yet another self-motivated and self-resilient generation in Grahastha Ashram, family extension, respecting the call of nature to continue human existence, here comes the time to get slightly away from the household chorus and the social responsibilities. This is the time of retro-inspection, time to check how the knowledge gained in the study time were applied in Grahastha. In Sanskar Vidhi, named book, Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati beautifully and logically links this age, its capacity, need for self and society, and the 16 Sanskāras, very beautifully linked. I'll repeat, it's the age, the capacity in that age, the need for the self and the society, and the 16 Sanskāras. There have been instances, I hope I can relate to all of you, especially in urban life. People crave to visit woods, wildlife, peace and closeness with own self, especially after the age of 35. The age here is around 50, and your children's now have their own children. Responsibility of children now is to look after the newborn, more fragile and more dependent. The 50s are so well placed in the Vedic system of 16 Sanskāras is that they now should leave the household, the 50s, should now leave the households and go back to woods in finding a little more calm. The age when body slowly starts degenerating and the physical power, eyesight, hearing capacity, muscle power is not as sharp as it was at the age of 25. This is the time the remaining mental strength is reinforced. The call of the soul is heard, and whatever experiences, lessons have been learnt so far to be shared with the brahmacharis studying in Gurukul. See the beautiful link. Whatever you gained in the early ages, you applied in your Grahastha. If you can bestow, share with the newer generation studying in these ashrams and Gurukuls, nothing better than that. You are giving them platforms to raise themselves and fill the gaps that were produced in your own life. With Swadhyay and Yoga practice and minimal, simple living, grace is attained. The false attachment after 50s or around restrict you to serve bigger objectives. After 50s, we linger upon things. So the false attachments after 50s or around restrict you to serve the bigger purposes for your own society and country welfare through transferring of knowledge, skills and experiences. However, in Vānaprastha, 50s are properly positioned. The bondages are symbolically left behind. One is alone or with his wife in Vānaprastha ashram, with less of outwardness and a start of a journey inwards, without any friction or remaining responsibilities. Youth of 2022 is either not happy, I hope I'm relating to all of you. Youth of 2022 is either not happy with their parents interfering in their style of rearing children, or are complaining about an added responsibility of their parents along with kids. See, the middle age is looking for two aspects, the parents and the younger ones who needs more attention. So this is a very prudent complaint of the youngsters. We may not admit it so openly, but this is a natural state of family affair, attained in the absence of knowledge gaining through Ved Siksha and Vānaprastha Sanskāra. This quite obvious unhappiness or complaint did not find a place in efficient display of 16 Sanskāras in human life tenure, as this was well taken care while formulating them. These 16 Sanskāras were formulated to take away all these complaints and unhappinesses. A quiet, calm, natural environment facilitates one to slowly separate with worldly affections, which are the source of pain and anguish in long run, and does not lead one to a real pleasure one is seeking. The voice of the soul, there is always a friction inside the voice of the soul and the material wealth creation, if not for the society or if not for the others' benefit for attaining the spiritual growth. The two Sanskāras, Vedarambh and Vānaprastha, leads you to a Brahmacharya ashram and Vānaprastha ashram respectively, wherein the first way of attaining salvation and emancipation through knowledge is made available to each and every human being. This liberty and this right of all the souls is not there in present context. This is the right of all the existing souls to get this knowledge through Ved Siksha. We are depriving our society to act upon these liberties, these rights. The youth 2022 is almost blank about this right and liberty, and we all are watching this bare eyes. And remember, the toolkit, the guidebook is very much there, the Veda. Namaskar.
Thank you, Alka ji. Very good presentation. Herself an architect and planner. She described very beautifully the planning of the Vedas, and I think she has utilized her knowledge, this architect and planning knowledge, into the subject of Ved itself. बहुत ही अच्छा आपका व्याख्यान था और आपने पूरी जो वेद की योजना है उसको आपने समझाया और बड़े सरल शब्दों में आपने बताया कि वेदारंभ का जो संस्कार होता है 7 से 11 वर्ष की आयु में, किस प्रकार से बच्चा अपने माता पिता के घर को छोड़ के और अपने आचार्य के घर में जाता है। और वेदारंभ में भी उन्होंने बहुत सुंदर 3 चीजें बताई कि वेद का अर्थ क्या है, पूरी सृष्टि का ज्ञान। भगवत गीता में भी कहा है त्रिगुण विषयो वेदा, ये जो त्रिगुणात्मक सृष्टि है ये वेद का विषय है। तो ये जो सृष्टि है इसका जो ज्ञान है वही वेद का विषय है। जब वेदारंभ करता है इसका मतलब जो विद्यार्थी है वह बालक है, इस पूरी सृष्टि को समझना चाहता है। और इस सृष्टि में मुख्यतया 3 तत्व हैं, ईश्वर है, प्रकृति है और आत्म तत्व है। तो उनको समझने के लिए ये वेदारंभ संस्कार किया गया है। ये वेदारंभ संस्कार, बिल्कुल आपने ठीक कहा कि प्राचीन काल में इस पूरे अपने वातावरण को, इस पूरी सृष्टि को जिसमें ये व्यक्ति आया है उसको समझने का एक प्रयत्न है। ये कोई प्रोफेशनल कोर्स नहीं है कि जिसको करने के बाद हम किसी जॉब में लग जाएंगे, उसमें लग जाएंगे। तो इसमें अपने आप को, जो भगवत गीता में कहा आत्मानं विद्धि, अपने को भी समझना है और इस पूरे ब्रह्मांड को जिसमें हम रह रहे हैं उसको भी समझना। और आपने बड़ा सुंदर प्लानिंग से बताया कि किस प्रकार से धर्म है, अर्थ है, काम है, मोक्ष, हर चीज में, हर उसमें एक बड़ी प्लानिंग दी गई है। पहले आप धर्म का अर्जन करेंगे, फिर धर्म के आधार पर ही आप अर्थ का अर्जन कर सकते हैं। क्योंकि आजकल तो लोग ऐसे पहले अर्थ का अर्जन करते हैं, फिर अर्थ का कहते हैं उससे धर्म कमाना चाहते हैं। ऐसा नहीं होता है, पहले धर्म ही कमाएंगे, उसके बाद धर्म पर आधारित अर्थ का अर्जन होगा और उसी धर्म पर आधारित जो हमारी इच्छाएं हैं हम उनकी परिपूर्ति कर सकते हैं और फिर जो मोक्ष का कार्यक्रम है उसको हम देख सकते हैं। तीसरा आपने जो ज्ञान, कर्म और उपासना, ये भी एक प्लानिंग है, ये भी एक वैदिक प्लानिंग है। पहले तो ज्ञान आवश्यक है, और जब ज्ञान आएगा तो उसके अनुरूप व्यक्ति कर्म कर सकता है, और जब ज्ञान होगा तो उपासना भी सही स्वरूप में की जा सकती है। आप प्रारंभ में ही उपासना स्टार्ट कर देंगे, ज्ञान न हो। देखिए, पहले इंफॉर्मेशन आवश्यक है। जब तक इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं, आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते। आप किसकी उपासना करेंगे? आप कोई गलत भी उपासना कर सकते हैं। तो जो ज्ञान है वो इस प्लानिंग में सबसे पहले है, उसके बाद आप कर्म है, एफर्ट्स करेंगे, और फिर आप जो उपासना है, उपासना का अर्थ ईश्वर की पूजा भी है, पूरे ब्रह्मांड का ज्ञान भी उपासना है। ये सारा इसका एक बहुत बृहद स्वरूप आपने बताया, और बहुत सुंदर आपने उस मैकाले की स्पीच को भी उद्धृत किया, जो कि 1835 में हाउस ऑफ कॉमन्स में मैकाले ने दी थी। और उसमें बताया था कि किस प्रकार से भारत में, भारत की जो शिक्षा है, भारत की संस्कृति है, किस प्रकार से विशाल थी, और उस संस्कृति को जो खत्म करना है इतना आसान नहीं है। उसके लिए तो सबसे पहले भारत में शिक्षा को परिवर्तित करना होगा। और उस समय के डॉक्यूमेंट्स हमें बताते हैं, जो विलियम एडम्स ने सर्वे किए, लुडलो कैशल ने सर्वे किए, पूरे भारत में उस समय 5 से 7 लाख गांव थे, और हर गांव में गुरुकुल होता था। उन सर्वों से हमें पता लगता है कि लगभग हर 200 व्यक्तियों के पीछे एक गुरुकुल था। और उस समय वो बताते हैं कि भारत में 96% लोग पढ़े लिखे थे, महिलाएं भी पढ़ती थी, उनके भी गुरुकुल होते थे, परंतु और वो जो शिक्षा प्रणाली थी वो सोशल सब्जेक्ट था, वो स्टेट सब्जेक्ट नहीं था, कोई स्टेट फंडिंग नहीं थी। समाज के लोग ही दान चंदे से उन शिक्षण संस्थाओं को चलाते थे, आचार्य काम करता था। तो सभी जगह एक शिक्षा का प्रचार था, एक अलग प्रकार का माहौल था। परंतु ब्रिटिश लोगों ने एक नई शिक्षा नीति लाके उस पूरी जो भारतीय शिक्षा प्रणाली थी उसको अवैध घोषित किया, और उसको नष्ट कर दिया, और कहने लगे कि ये अवैध है, और इसमें जो दान चंदा देगा उन लोगों को भी पनिशमेंट दिया जाएगा। और इस प्रकार से हमारा जो एजुकेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर था, अंग्रेजों ने उसे खत्म कर दिया। और हमारे यहाँ जब लोग पढ़ते थे, कोई डिग्री नहीं दी जाती थी, कोई सर्टिफिकेट नहीं होता था, और उन्होंने क्या किया, एक डिग्री, एक सर्टिफिकेट देने लगे, और आपने बीए पास किया, ये सर्टिफिकेट लेके जाए, आप ये करें। तो जो शिक्षा, जो ज्ञान है, ज्ञान की कोई सीमा नहीं है, ज्ञान के लिए कोई आयु नहीं है, ज्ञान के लिए कोई आपके लिए क्वालिफिकेशन की वो नहीं है। और आजकल तो ज्ञान के लिए एक सीमा है कि आपको इतनी आयु का होगा तो आप ये कर सकते हैं, आप ज्यादा बूढ़े हो गए तो आप पढ़ नहीं सकते। तो ये जो है ब्रिटिश प्रणाली है। हमारा देश तो ज्ञान प्रधान देश रहा है, उसमें कोई भी व्यक्ति ज्ञान प्राप्त कर सकता, सबके लिए ओपन है ज्ञान। ज्ञान का रास्ता अवरुद्ध नहीं होता, वो किसी आयु की विशेष की सीमा नहीं देखता है। तो आपने बहुत अच्छे से उस मैक्स मुलर के उदाहरण को भी दिया और बताया, और फिर वानप्रस्थ का भी आपने बहुत अच्छा उदाहरण दिया कि जो वानप्रस्थ का अर्थ है, देखिए, जब तक आदमी 50 की आयु तक रहता, वो बाह्य जगत में ज्यादा लीन है, उसका ध्यान बाह्य जगत की ओर भी है। फिर वो अपनी जर्नी स्टार्ट करता है, संकुचित होता है बाहर से, और अंदर की ओर उसका प्रयाण प्रारंभ होता है। वो जो आंतरिक यात्रा है वो वानप्रस्थ की यात्रा है। यद्यपि वो लगता तो ऐसे कि जैसे जंगल में चले गए, परंतु वो जो ग्राम्य जीवन है उसको समाप्त करके जंगल के जीवन का अर्थ है कि उसकी आंतरिक यात्रा प्रारंभ होती है, और वही मोक्ष के लिए पड़ाव होगा, फिर सन्यासी होगा, मोक्ष में जा सकता है। तो आपने बहुत सुंदर ढंग से जो वेद की प्लानिंग है, पता नहीं डीडीए की तो प्लानिंग कैसी हम नहीं जानते, परंतु वेद की प्लानिंग वो आपने बहुत अच्छे ढंग से बताया है। और सचमुच आज के जो हमारे all the three speakers, they did excellent job while explaining the subject matter given to them. So I'm going to thank Dr. Dev Sharma for his excellent presentation, Ravi Shankar ji and Alka Arya ji. All these three scholars, they presented very well. And I must not fail to thank Vinita ji. She is an attorney in UK, but she takes part very eagerly in all these proceedings, and she introduced our scholars in a very beautiful way. And I think I was just sending the raw material to her. She composed, compiled, and presented it in a very beautiful way. So I thank Vinita ji also, and I also thank um, uh, all our participants. Bharat Singh ji from New York, he is a very good scholar. Nand Kumar from Canada. Brahmadev ji is a very good scholar from Mauritius. Chanda Bharadwaj ji is a very good scholar. And our first day speaker, Ashwini Rajpal from Canada. I also thank Vishnu Erol Ramswarup from Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Naresh Vats, Mr. Kinu is also here, Krishna Prakash Tripathi from Banaras, Professor Narendra Dutt Tiwari, I also thank him, Professor Ranveer Singh, Mr. Nitin Mehendi Ratta, he asked a very good question, Parth Shastri Thapiyal, Ram Singh Varmaji from Bharatpur, Professor Rakesh Kumar Mishra from Odisha, Pandit Usha Devi Prasad from South Africa, Vivekananda Mahavir from Canada, Yogacharya Rajiv Kumar, and so many more. Our friends are here. I cannot quote everybody's name. Sudhir Vilani is also here. So I'm going to thank everybody